My name is Jennifer Farmer, and I'm a communications professional. I'm also the author of Extraordinary PR, Ordinary Budget, a strategy guide. I've been in the communications field for well over 15 years, and throughout my career, I've seen so many campaigns, I've seen so many communicators rely on press releases and press conferences as the sole communications tactic to push a message. But I'm here to tell you that if you limit your communications outreach, or if you over-rely on press conferences and press releases, you're probably missing out on the universe of possibilities in terms of sharing your story. One often overlooked strategy is editorial board meetings. And when I say editorial board meetings, let me share what I mean. So newspapers and media outlets are comprised of at least two departments. The one department is the news department. Another major department is the editorial department. The news department, they report the news without bias, without opinion. At least that's what we hope that they will do. The editorial department, on the other hand, their job is to issue opinions. And the editorial department represents the views of the publisher of the paper, or the owner of an outlet, as well as its senior editors or senior leadership team. One of the reasons that I recommend editorial board meetings is because if you think about any myriad of issues that are in the public domain, so gun violence, mass incarcerations, strategies to end the school-to-prison pipeline, the consequences of police in schools, universal health care, even candidates when they run for elected office, papers will weigh in and they'll issue an editorial on whether or not that candidate is best suited, or the candidate who they think would be best suited for a position. The problem is, if you just focus on engaging reporters and engaging producers about your issue, you're overlooking an important component, an important influencer for your campaign. So what I recommend is that you, go ahead and engage reporters and producers, but also engage the editorial department. As I was saying before, for any major issue, there's a strong likelihood that the editorial page is going to issue an editorial on that issue. And what you want to do is you want to get in front of them before they actually issue that editorial. And you want to convince them why your way, why your policy is the right way, or why your candidate is the right candidate for the current moment. To schedule an editorial board meeting or to request one is really a lot easier than what it seems. You basically want to go to the opinion section of a newspaper or a media outlet, and you want to see who the editorial page editor is for that publication. Once you identify the editorial page editor, you also read through the editorials that publication has produced. And what you're looking for is whether or not there's a reasonable chance that you can convince the editorial board to see things your way. So if you are a proponent of paid sick days and you are thinking about engaging your local paper, but based on the editorials that local paper has written, you feel like there's no way to engage them, you have a choice. You can still try to go in and meet with them, or you could move on to another publication that you believe there's a reasonable chance you can either convince them to see things your way, or you can convince them to remain neutral. The other benefit of editorial boards is that when you meet with an editorial board, a lot of times the editorial page editor will invite reporters to be a part of the conversation. And what that means is that you can there's a possibility that you'll not only get an editorial, but you may also get a news article. So that's two media hits for the price of one. In some cases, you might even get a video. For instance, I took a team of folks to meet with the Washington Post not long ago, and I set up the meeting, but the team that I took, they really delivered the story. And after our meeting with the Washington Post editorial board, the Washington Post invited us to write an op-ed on our issue, but then they also produced a video summarizing our issue. So we had one meeting that lasted 1 hour, and from that 1 hour, we received an op-ed, and then we also received a video. It remains to be seen whether the Washington Post will actually write an editorial on our issue, but we at least got the conversation started. And my hope is that the next time they weigh in on the issue that we were talking about, they will remember our team and they'll reach out and ask us for comment. So if you are only relying on stale and overused tactics such as press releases and press conferences, I encourage you to take a deeper look, and I encourage you to think about editorial boards. If you want more information, feel free to follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/tips for extraordinary PR.